Hey, what's up guys? Sawyer here from TechieGrad. Google was kind enough to send us out the Nexus 5X and 6P for review, and here's everything you need to know about these two phones. Now that we've been able to use these two devices for around a week, we're ready to put in our 2 cents. The Nexus 6P and 5X are Google's updated versions of the Nexus 5 and Nexus 6, and they're the first phones to be running Android Marshmallow straight out of the box. It's only been a year since we saw the Nexus 6 release, but the world has been waiting for an updated Nexus 5 since 2013. So, just some prerequisites, the 5X starts at $379, which puts itself in the budget price range and offers 16GB of storage for the base model. The more premium of these two phones, the 6P, will set you back $499 for 32GB, making it a mid-range phone. Regardless of the price, Google is marketing these devices as flagships. The 5.2-inch 1080p LCD panel is okay, but a lot of phones look much better than it. For the price, however, it's relatively good, but when put side by side with a phone that's twice the price, you can tell that the colors just don't pop as much. I've lately been using gargantuan devices for my microscopic hands, so it's good to see Google turning the other way, for one of the devices at least. The 5X fits well in my hand, and it was nice to be able to feel like it wasn't going to tumble out of my hand every second. Powering this phone is a Snapdragon 808 chip, as well as 2GB of RAM. Though it's kept to a minimum, you can unfortunately still tell from time to time that this is a budget phone based on the way the phone runs. You'll experience a bit of lag on demanding tasks, but other than that, the 808 has you covered. Google played it pretty safe in the design department on the LG-made Nexus 5X. It certainly doesn't look bad, but it's just okay. It has a soft-touch plastic build, which is nothing new from an LG-made Nexus. The phone feels solid, but still light. But it's a bit too light for my liking. At some point, lightness just makes the 5X feel cheaper than it should. The 5X has a 2700 mAh battery, which, to be honest, is a bit disappointing. I could get through most days, but don't expect to get through 2. The USB Type-C charging port charges the phone incredibly fast, so it's easy to get an extra 20 or 30% here and there. Now let's move on to the 6P. I think that a lot of people were driven away from the Nexus 6 last year because of how massive it was, but Google has changed their ways. The 6P now is skinnier and a bit taller than before. It's the first all-metal Nexus device. It's kept really thin and has buttons which in my opinion are far too easy to press. It has a much more rectangular, sharp edge type of design, which I've always preferred to rounded backs. They didn't do a great job on managing the bezels on either of the new Nexus devices. Many people were really worried about the camera hump on the top because it looked huge in lakes, but it really isn't that bad, and I've grown to strangely enjoy it. The review unit we received is the black or graphite version, and the hump looks less out of place on this variant than it does on the others. The 6P rocks a 5.7-inch QHD AMOLED display, and it's really impressive. It gets very bright even in direct sunlight. I never had to cut my hand over the screen to see it or get in the shade. The 6P has a Snapdragon 810 and 3GB of RAM. You won't find any lag at all in the 6P, no matter what you're doing. Luckily, it has better battery life than the 5X. It's 3,450 mAh and easily lasts a day, and possibly 2, depending on how often you use your phone. The 6P, like the 5X, also charges incredibly fast through the USB Type-C port. If there's one way to describe the fingerprint scanners housed on both phones, it's that they're lightning fast. You can even touch your finger to the scanner without turning on the screen to unlock your device. Here's a demonstration of how fast it is to set up. Both of the cameras on the 5X and 6P are the same, and they're both great. This is something that could not be said about previous Nexus devices. They have a 12.3 megapixel sensor, and the photos turn out well in most lighting conditions. One setback is that there's no optical image stabilization, but this didn't seem to be a huge deal. Android Marshmallow works great on the 2015 Nexus devices. It's kind of like how iOS works on iPhones. Apple makes the hardware and the software, so they are a match made in heaven. Obviously, it's a stock Android experience, which is really clean and looks great. The main new feature is called Google Now on Tap. The gist of it is that no matter where you are, an app, a tweet, or a website, you can hold down the home button and Google Now will find various pieces of information on whatever is being shown, such as a company website, app, or social media. It seems to work okay right now, but it's something that I could actually see myself using in the future. Here's our final verdict after using these phones as our daily drivers for a week. The 6P is probably worth the extra money over the 5X, as it offers a better design, better battery life, and a bigger, brighter screen. It was very surprising that Google could make such a great phone for $499. If you're really short on cash, the 5X is still a great choice. It offers everything that an average smartphone has, and more, for a great price. Google really hit a home run this year. This concludes our Nexus 5X and 6P review. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.